I had a lot of questions. I don't know if I should be making this video. It's not clickbait. My stomach is all up in knots and I can't get this out of my head, and I have nobody to talk to about this. I have to cope somehow, I guess. I used to have a friend. He was actually the best friend of my ex-boyfriend, but I knew him before I knew my ex-boyfriend. Let's call him John. We met 8 years ago. We were very good friends. We were best friends. He was one of my best friends for years. I would see like a lot of him often, and it was always so much fun, and there were always so many laughs. And a lot of times when I was sad or was dealing with stuff, I talked to him and he listened, and he was always very understanding, and he knew so much about me. But that time in my life, however shitty afterwards I felt my relationship with my ex was, the friends I had then, that was a really nice time. And John was one of the best friends I ever had. Like literally still, when I think back about the things that we did and the connection that we had and the moments that we shared, and I haven't had a friend as good as him. And we'd been friends for, I don't know, 3 years. He was a kindergarten teacher, and a couple of years into our friendship, he told us, like the whole group, that the parents of one of the girls in his school, not even in his class, but in his school, they accused him of child abuse. He told us, because how can you not, because the police is going to be involved and whatnot, your friends are going to know about it. So he told us, and of course we all thought he didn't do it. We all thoroughly believed that he didn't do it. We read the police report that he had. I'm not going to go into detail. I don't know how much I can even say about this. I'm not going to go into detail, but there were a number of details about things that happened, places, locations where it happened, times that it happened in that report, of which he refuted all of it. And he didn't need to, because we didn't believe he'd done that. I mean, he said he hadn't done that, and we were his friends, and we'd all known him for so long, and we believed that he hadn't done that. And he had explanations for everything, like why he couldn't be at certain locations at certain times, and why it didn't make sense. I mean, it was all very logical, and the way that he explained it and the things that he said, it seemed like there was someone else at that school who might be abusing children, and that now people were wrongly putting the blame on him, and that there was probably something going on, but that he didn't do it, which all sounded extremely plausible at the time. And this already at the time, it hit kind of close to home, because I mean, rape and but we stayed friends, and investigations like these, they take a long time, and you don't hear about them for a long time, so there wasn't really anything new happening, and it was all taking very long. It was all going very slow, which was good, because in a sense we all figured like he didn't do this, and in a sense this made it like it didn't go away, and there was gonna be a point where they were going to decide like, okay, we don't have a case here, or we do, so we're going to arrest you. But that was all so far off, because these things take so fucking long, and we thought the day would never come that they'd say, oh, we're going to arrest you because we have enough evidence now, because of course he didn't do it. Of course there wasn't going to be enough evidence. There was never going to be enough evidence, so this was all going to just take very long to investigate, and then when they finally reached a conclusion that there was nothing going on, the case would just be dismissed. That's what we thought was going to happen. We were prepared for it to take years, but then again, it wasn't really infringing on any of our lives. We could just, I mean, he wasn't gone, he wasn't arrested, he wasn't away. okay, he lost his job, but you know, he went back to college and studied something else that he was really interested in. So it was all, I mean, it was all fine. So then I broke up with my ex-boyfriend, and I kept seeing John a lot. But then I moved back to my parents from the city where I studied, and he lived in the city where I studied. But when I moved back to my parents, I lived further away, and I got a full-time job, and I didn't have a lot of time to go see him. So we tried to meet up regularly, but it didn't work out. So I didn't see him a lot. I think 2014 was the last time I saw him, because it'd been so long since we'd seen each other. I was around and I texted him and we met up, and it was so much fun. So much fun. I'd missed him so much, and we talked about all the things that we had to catch up on, and we went for drinks and we went dancing. Fucking train! I missed him so much. And when I said goodbye, he was like, it's been way too long, and we should do this more often. Promise me we'll do this more often. I missed you. And I was like, yeah, gladly, because I've missed you so much as well. But, you know, life, still had a full-time job, still lived a little bit far away. And the next thing that happened was a guy I used to know, I mean still know, we don't talk much and we don't see each other much, but we were very friendly, and he sends me the link to a newspaper article, and this was in the first half of 2015, and this article was about John. He was arrested, and then there was going to be a court case, not for that one girl that he allegedly abused, but for several children at his school, and the abuse of 2 of his nieces that had apparently gone on for years. He was found guilty, had to go to prison for 6 years. 6 years for molesting several children, abusing 2 of his own nieces for years. And because I'd lost contact with all the people that we had both been in contact with, and who had still been close to him at the time that this went down. And it had been a couple of months since I last saw him, so I didn't know. I had a lot of questions. And I just wanted to, and I didn't know where he was, what prison he would go to. His Facebook was deleted, his phone number didn't work anymore, I had no way to contact him, and I had nobody else to talk to about this. Because I didn't want to impose, like I didn't want to try and contact his girlfriend. I didn't want to try and contact the mutual friends that we'd had, because this, I figured this was worse. If it was this bad for me, it was probably worse for them, and it felt wrong to try and contact these people, but it was rough. It was very rough. Also, just knowing that I had told him about things that happened to me, about rape, and that he was always very understanding and very appalled, and then this, I don't know. So that happened. I found out that happened. I was shook. I lay awake for weeks after this. I had a hard time sleeping throughout. I mean, since that moment, I still lie awake sometimes thinking about this, thinking about him, thinking about why, thinking about what I'd say to him if I saw him again, thinking about that I never had closure on this, and so many questions, just so many questions, like why would you, why? Does he feel at all guilty? Does he feel at all bad? Does he at all want help? How do other people feel? How do they deal? How do they, because I could never, how do you deal with the idea that one of your best friends was a child molester, that you were there when he was accused of it, and that you were so adamant in your belief that he could never have done this? How do you deal with the idea that you were so utterly deceived by someone? That if your best of friends, that if someone that you thought was so good and so honest, if someone like that can go and do something like this, which in theory I know that happens. I know that people who do this, they don't have rapist written on their forehead, you know, but how do you deal with the fact that you were so utterly deceived? How do you deal? How do you even trust anybody after something like this? And I can't talk to anyone about this. I mean, I can, but nobody. I would have liked to be able to talk to the people who'd also known him and who was still close to him when this happened, or who were in the same group of friends as I was back in the day. Well, back in the day, it wasn't that long ago, but so he got 6 years, and I didn't try and reach out to anybody because I thought it would be disrespectful towards anyone who had still been in recent contact with him. And since that first half of 2015, I've had nightmares about this, and I've lain awake about this, and I've been a little bit desperate, not knowing what to do. I've cried over this. I felt guilty that I didn't see it. I literally, like, when he was accused of this and we all believed that he hadn't done it, I know my theory. I know my sexual abuse theory. I know that these things are like done by co-workers, family members, 80% of the time. I think it's even a bigger number with child abuse. But so, and I know that you can't always tell. I know that he often can't tell, and I did not want to be that person who was just like, yeah, I believe you. No, you could never have done this. I mean, I did believe him. He was my friend. Of course I believed that he hadn't done this, but still, we were at a bus stop together, and I looked him in the eye, and I said, John, if you tell me that you didn't do this, I will believe you. But if you did do this, then please just tell me. It's not gonna help anybody if I just ditch you after that. But please just tell me, and I will help. I will support you and make sure that you get help for this. Not that I was gonna lie and make sure he didn't get punished or whatever. He would have. I mean, of course he has to be. Of course that's not. Yes, I would have been angry and disappointed and upset and disgusted, but I would also realize that it wouldn't have been to anybody's benefit, not his, but also not society's benefit, if I ditched him and if he'd feel isolated. And I don't know, it was kind of like we've been friends for this many years. If you did this and you feel bad about it and you're ashamed and you feel guilty, then that still makes it what the fuck, but I will help you. I will be someone you can talk to. I don't know, but he looked me straight in the eye and he said, thank you, but no, I swear I didn't do this. And then, he did. So where was I going? Right, I saw his picture a number of times. Like, I I studied to be a social worker, and I had a class, and in one of the PowerPoint presentations that was about youth work something, and his picture was in there. And I didn't go to that particular lesson, but I was studying, and I opened that PowerPoint presentation, and I saw something about blah blah child abuse, and there was his picture. It was the example. And I just couldn't study anymore for that entire day. I just shut down. I scrolled, I saw that picture, and it froze. It just froze. It was just, I felt the blood just drain from my head. I mean, and then me and a friend, we went to this training for federal police officers about sexual violence one time, and someone came and talked about his case, about this case and how it was prosecuted, and I got up and I ran out of the venue because I couldn't. A couple of days ago, someone sent me another link to a newspaper article. Apparently 2 or 3 weeks ago, after 1.5 years of his sentence, John was released from prison. 1.5 years. So he's free now, and I still feel this urge to talk to him, to ask him questions, to see him, I need to reassess the person that he is somehow, because what I remember is that he was great and fantastic and respectful and intelligent, and that he had an uncanny ability to see through people and to read their insecurities, and he was good. From what I remember, he was a good guy, he was a decent guy, and then this happened, and I didn't get a chance to see him and re-evaluate his character somehow. I would like a chance to just see him and decide for myself whether I think he's sorry, or whether I think that he's inclined to work on this issue, or if he doesn't care at all. I mean, is he ill and in need of help, or is he just a psychopath? And I'm leaning towards the second, but I don't know. I want a chance to look at him and just, I don't know. I don't know if I'd be angry. I don't think I would be angry. I just need closure. And I don't have that. I don't have closure. But this time around I decided to. I mean, at least at least if I don't talk to him, I felt like I really had to talk to someone who still knew him. And I felt like, it's been that long since he was arrested and since that really went down. So maybe the people I didn't want to bother with this the first time around because it would be too fresh, too painful. Maybe one of them wanted to talk to me now, But I got out of touch with a lot of them, and that's one girl who's a girlfriend of also one of his best friends. I don't know if they're still friends. I don't know, because I haven't spoken to anybody. But I reached out to her because we got along pretty well back then. I asked her if we could talk, and she said, yeah, what about? And I said, about John, if you don't mind. And she read that message and she ignored it. So then I said, hey, I understand if you don't want to talk about this, and it's fine, but could you just let me know, at least? Could you just give me an answer? Could you at least, if you don't want to talk about this, tell me that you'd rather not talk about it? And she read that, and then it took her another full day before she said, hey, I'm sorry, but I'd rather not. Goodbye. So there went my only connection. So I'll have to live with the lack of closure on this. And when I link this video on Facebook, I will also exclude her from the people who will be able to see it, because I don't think that I need to confront her with this video if she made it clear that she didn't even want to privately speak to me about this. So I will respect that. I don't know. So I needed this to vent my thoughts, and I expect this to be an issue for a while. I mean, it's been an issue for 1.5 years, so I think it will be an issue for a while. I don't know if I have anything more to say about this. Probably not. I probably do, I might. But yeah. I'm sorry, this is very depressing, but okay. Anyway.